Hi, welcome back to the channel. I am doing a watercolour project from the amazing book Painting Landscapes by Inga Buidavice. I really hope that I've said her name properly, and if I haven't, please correct me, because I always find giving somebody the respect of saying their name properly super important. I come from a background of inclusion, working with inclusion, so it is super important to me. I am using 3 shades of blue. I don't have the exact colours that Inga has today, but I'm using a lighter, a mid and a brighter, like indigo-y blue, and also a peachy tone. I'm wetting the page. I am using the palest colour just to try and give a little bit of a pale graded wash at the top of the page. I found Inga's style of teaching and her use of visuals really good for me in the book. I am a very visual learner. I am a very practical learner. So I find things that I can follow along so beneficial when I'm learning a skill. I do want to get skies and sea, water improved, because I do go out and about painting quite a bit in spring and summer. My husband is a keen angler, and we like to take a little picnic and a little kettle to boil and make a cup of tea, and I take my watercolours or watercolour pencils. So I want to improve, because next time I'm on the North Wales coast, I want to make a better stab at it. So we are now coming in with a paler and a mid blue, and we're trying to do another wash along the bottom of the page. I found this tutorial really good because your brush strokes could be quite strong and large. You didn't have to go straight to precise, you could get into it a little bit more. So I'm just building that colour in the wash so that the water is definitely not the sky. Washing my brush, umming and ahhing, checking the instructions just off camera. I'm not going to show pages of the book because obviously she's an author. She has the rights and respects from me for people to buy her book. This is me, you know, doing a practice try. It doesn't look like hers at the end because she is a professional artist and author, and I am not. I am doing some of the mid-tone blue in streaks, larger ones at the bottom, slimmer to the top, trying to create that movement. Mine are on a diagonal angle because I've got the easel at a slightly diagonal angle for filming, because we are on my kitchen table and where I can get the camera stand means that everything is slightly facing. In editing, I have made it so it looks vertical, but at the time of filming it was at a jaunty angle. I'm just softening some of those up with water because I'm spreading them a little bit because they need to be quite big. I did leave a lot of gaps, so I'm going in with the indigo, or the darker of the tones. It doesn't look quite that dark here, but it is in real life. I think my kitchen light just above it was making everything look a little bit brighter, which is not a problem because you can all see it on YouTube, but it does affect the tones, doesn't it? I'm looking at the instructions again because I am following them to the best of my ability. I'm just spreading those lines again. If I did this again, I'd make less of a paler starting colour and more of a mid-tone, and then those other darker tones would look less like lines on the surface and more like waves going through it. I think there's a little bit too much contrast with the paler. So now we're going to start to do a bit of a graded wash, so it starts stronger at the midline. Turn your paper upside down and spread it. Get it darker on the horizon line and then paler going down the sky. I find it quite difficult to kind of see colours within colours. Like if there's a bit of peach, if there's a bit of grey in the sky, I always think the sky is blue. So this takes me away from that literal thinking and demonstrates to me that, you know, I've painted this and the peach does fit. It is right. My daughter's really good with that because she has taught me about greys in the sky and that the sea is a reflection of the sky, and I have improved because of my daughter showing me how she sees colour. So we're doing blue in a graded wash, stronger at the top, lighter, almost disappearing as it melds with the peach. And it does, it looks like the blue sky going to where the sun's shining and then to the sea. Now I struggled a little bit with the shadows and reflections, but that is something that I need to improve with. So I'm hoping that each time I do this exercise, especially when I'm out and about and I'm painting what I'm seeing, hopefully each time I'll make it click a little more and improve a little more, because that's the beauty of painting. You know, each time there's a takeaway from it, isn't there? You know, at the very least there's something that you don't want to do again. Even if there's something that you know, if there's not something that you do want to do again. I am umming and ahhing about that lighter colour at this point because everything looks a bit blobby, and and of course Inga's does not look blobby. Inga's looks like the sea. So I am umming and ahhing about fixing that. I'm adding some virtually pure, virtually no water indigo for the shadowy reflections on the water. I struggled with this because I wasn't really seeing it in waves, I was seeing it in blobs, so it was like I was underlining and overlining the flops. But I you know, that is something where if I get a better structure to begin with, these things will be more obvious to me because there will be a better framework to add these to. And, you know, everything's a work in progress. You only know as much as the last thing you learned, and, you know, you've just got to go and keep trying. So I'm making the shadowy reflections lighter and smaller by the sky and stronger and wider to the front, because the ones at the back are nearer to the sun and further away, and the ones nearer to me are further away from the sun and nearer. So you see things more vibrantly and strongly with that way. The pale blue was winding me up, and that is not an Inga decision, that is a Kerry decision. So I am now trying to get in there and make it a bit darker, and I wish I'd done that before I did the indigo, because it did make things look a bit more cohesive, and I could make more sense of it. So note to self, you know, a proper strong shade to begin with, and then add and add and add. I did really enjoy painting this though. I found it really, really calming and just tootling along. So here we are when it's touch dry, and we are going to go in with either white gouache or white acrylic. I've got white acrylic at the moment just because it was the nearest thing to hand, and my gouache was upstairs and I felt lazy. So so I am adding the light reflections, the foam, the brightness with the white acrylic, and to really define those waves. Again, this would do much better next time with a better foundation of the waves to begin with. But I did find that this really lifted it and brightened it. I mean, obviously because it's white, but and it's such a light colour, but it did kind of like break up those lines of blue and add a bit of contrast and a bit of movement, and it look good. I mean, my water was not a calm seascape, it was clearly one with quite a bit of chop on, and as my husband might say, you know, that water looks bassy. Being a fisherman. But yeah, I am really enjoying getting back into painting again, and I really want to focus on it this year with the skill of drawing and painting, and seeing how far I can improve and what I can achieve by pure practice and taking opportunities to paint. I've got some really nice travel palettes coming in the post, and I'm looking forward to getting some paints out when I'm out and about on days out and having a go, and maybe even doing some urban sketching where we live, because Liverpool is such an amazing place heritage wise. There's always something to sketch, and sketch pens and watercolour pencils are so portable, you could easily do it. I'm just making more frothy foam, not frothy foam, at the front where like the waves are closer together and hitting the sand. I really want to thank Inga. She's been amazing with her book, but also she was lovely when I'd messaged on Instagram about buying a book. So I hope that although it's early days, she feels like I've done her exercise justice. We've all got to start somewhere. And we all know that the best artwork gets put on the fridge. Here's Inga's book. I got it from Waterstones. It's also on Amazon.